Hello, world. Welcome back to Golf Subpar. Colt Knost, Drew Stoltz. If you're watching on audio, you can obviously see I am not in the studio with the Sleazy Man. I am down at Grove 23 in Florida having a time with some of the boys. Got to play with world number 8, Justin Thomas today, reigning PGA champion. By the way, just because you were wondering, Sleaze, I closed him out on 16.
I was wondering. That was going to be my first question. When did you, not how did it go or what did you shoot? When did you close them out? That was going to be my first question. So good to get that out of the way quick.
Got 2 aside from JT, which I think is more than fair. He birdied the first, and I was 3 up through 6. I got a little hot with the putter. I was rolling pretty good, 3 under through 6. Ended up shooting a clean scorecard, 4 under 68. Closed him out on 16. Let him run it back. He made a miracle par on 17 from the water, basically. I'll show you a video of it later. And then he birdies 18 like true champions do, and we pushed.
Wow. He hasn't been in a battle like that since the Prezi Cup. Luckily,
it was a
battle. Your Canadian citizenship didn't come in yet. Could have been back to back. You know what I mean?
I agree. I tell you what, though, the game was pretty nice today, considering, flying across the country, having a little bit of a time. Talked to you on FaceTime with some of the boys last night. And
I recall.
Yeah, and by the way, Cowboys win again. Cooper Rush MVP.
I've been telling you, dude. You're just wasting money. Guys sitting on the sideline. You got the red. You got the little baby red rifle. You ain't Dalton. He ain't Andy Dalton, of course. But he's the next best thing when it comes to. I like
him the baby red rifle.
He's like the little red BB gun. You know what I mean? Dalton was the rifle. He's a little BB gun. He's doing a hell of a job. It's going to be hard to sit a kid that's done nothing but win. You got a little help from the D this past week, but I'm glad we're talking NFL. I refuse to speak on the Broncos. They shall not be named until Sierra's husband tightens the shit up a good bit. Thank the Lord I got the Horned Frogs rolling for me, which, by the way, another chicken dinner on the football bet. I'm going to try to go unbeaten on the season college football, win only the subpar picks, and then lose every other bet I make, which continued this week, by the way.
By the way, we both picked a winner. Congratulations. Your streak is still going, but I also gave you a winner as well.
Who'd you have? I forgot who you had even.
Mississippi State. Mike Leach, my guy.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. The Bulldogs. More cowbell. More cowbell down there. And we got a winner on the golf. We're back on a golf hot streak. Tom Kim coming through. Hey, have a couple months, bud. 6 months ago, no one had heard this name in the world of golf. Now he's on the tip of everybody's tongue across the world. This thing was crazy. How about Joe Scovern? Shout out our boy Joe. Had a nice, really nice run, long run with Rick. That thing washed out. I remember sitting with him on radio a month or so ago, right before the FedEx Cup started. And I was like, got any names in mind? Who are you thinking? He's like, I'm going to let the FedEx Cup play out. Guys probably won't make a switch during that. And then we'll see how it goes. Next thing you know, here comes a guy named Tom Kim. They got President's Cup and then Shriners under their belt as a duo. And based on what I've seen in the quotes from Tom Kim, that relationship ain't going anywhere for a while. He's been very complimentary. So good decision.
Does that count as a double win for us since we've had Joe and Tom on?
That's double. Well, of course, we're going to pad our stats, dude. That's the whole point of stats. You just fit them to make them fit whatever narrative you want.
Man, he was cruising, though, and then all of a sudden 18 came. And by the way, I've hit it where Patrick Cantlay did. 1 year I finished double bogey, triple bogey to finish 12th there. It's not good down the left at TPC Summerlin. Patrick Cantlay kind of gift wrapped it a little bit.
Sure.
When it looked like we possibly might be heading to a playoff. But Tom Kim, apparently the kid's for real.
Yeah, dude. I mean, yeah, Cantlay kind of gave it to him there on 18, but he was toe-to-toe. You go back to his other win at the Wyndham, did it completely different. Started, 2 shots back that day, shot a 61 final round. The thing was never in question, basically early into the back nine. It was just like, don't have a disaster and you're going to win. This one was different, battling with not only another player, but one of the best in the world in Patrick Cantlay. When Patrick Cantlay hit the 3-wood off 18 and I saw the shot tracker, I was like, no, dude, malfunction. There's no possible way Patrick Cantlay would miss left on that hole. I would have bet a shitload of money that this thing is going anywhere but left. I could not believe. And then he obviously got it in the bush. He was kind of he had to try to hit it out there, especially with a 3-shot cushion on second. But damn near cost himself a lot of money without that 30-foot putt for trip.
30-foot for
expensive
triple.
Could have been an expensive triple. Ended up tying for second instead of solo. But I was floored by that. Yeah, you got to stay out the bush, dude. What decade is this? You got to avoid the bush at all costs. You know what I'm talking about? By the way, even if he would have gutted it there, I'm not convinced Tom Kim doesn't stack it and make it. If he hits it within 25 feet, I pretty much think it's going in.
If he had to, he would have done it.
Yeah, dude. He's a little killer. He ain't afraid of nothing. He's in that little pocket right now where shit just seems easy and he's having fun.
He's one of those guys that we talked about. Like, I mean, he's 20 years old. He's not legal. So Vegas is like no harm to him.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I was like, most guys dream. All right, second, what's your most memorable win on tour? Well, when I won in Vegas, and then we went out and did what we did. I don't know what the hell Tom's doing. He just went to his first party a few weeks ago, and he's got that under his belt. Probably got blasted on water again.
He got excited about pizza showing up at the after party and not the tequila. No big deal.
God, I would love to get blasted on water one time. Be helpful.
I would love to see that did the trick one time.
Yeah, I know. By
the way,
I need to mix that in.
Shoulder? Can you see over my shoulder right here? That's Gary.
Oh yeah, there he is.
There's Gary.
There's the little fella. There's the little fella right there. Well, what's your routine like the rest? How many more days? What do you got? Who you got? All that.
Yeah, so today's obviously Monday as we're recording this, but I flew here yesterday. We're playing the next couple of days. Got action every single day. Bobby Wade, my man from Houston, just has a whole group in town, and they are not scared to get amongst it. We're staying at the cottages here at Grove 23. I want to move in. They're the nicest thing I've ever seen. It's absolutely incredible. The Wayne Gretzky, played with us today. He just left. He's got to go to Colorado for puck drop of opening night of the NHL. But I tell you what, it's a hell of a place. You've been here. It is Gary in the locker room told me to say hello.
Oh yes, shout out Gary. Tell him I said what up.
Yep.
Been a minute. Been a hot minute.
But it is a special place, man. It's a lot of fun. There's gonna be a lot of action going on. JT was nice enough to come out and play with us today. He's got a practice session tomorrow in the morning since he got his ass whipped today. But I'm confident he's going to bounce back.
Things are okay. Things are okay. After every dark night, there's a bright day. Tupac said that, and Tupac knows.
Actually, I was going to show you my Grove 23 cup, but this one doesn't even say Grove on it. My cup full of Doers right here.
Styrofoam all day makes every drink better, and that's a perfect segue, Colt, before we get to the Doers moment of the week. This is actually a special moment in whiskey history because Doers is releasing the all-new Doers 12-year-old. Doers has really invested the time to make a truly special Scotch whiskey, like all the time you put in on the range to perfect your swing. The new Doers 12-year-old is double-aged and finished in first-fill bourbon casks for a flavor profile full of fruit, vanilla, floral notes, and spice, earning a 94-point rating from Whiskey Cast and a 93-point rating from Whiskey Advocate. Give it a swing, and please, of course, enjoy responsibly. Now, the Doers moment of the week. BG, I'm going to leave it to you since you're on the road right now. You kind of already said it, maybe.
Well, please, I'll tell you this. By the way, I decided to cover our clubs, mine and JT's clubs back here because it's raining in Florida, as it always does. I don't understand why people live here, other than the state income tax. But I will say, I mean, should I make a comeback? I recently took down the number 16th ranked player in the world, Max Homa. Just made my way through number 8, Justin Thomas. I mean, I don't know, bud. I think it might be time.
Can you negotiate 4 shots per round on the PGA Tour?
That's a good point. I do like the shots. I am very good at parring my stroke.
I think Monahan would be okay with that, honestly, right now, given everything going on. I think this slides to the back burner. He's like, yeah, give it. You also lose a bet to Randy Smith if you come back.
It's true. $500. God, Golf.com. Can you cover that for me?
That's a lot of Doers in the belly. You know what I mean?
It is. The Grove 23, if you ever get the chance, you got to come. It is an incredible experience. We got people yelling on the back patio right now. I don't know what the hell's going on, but it is a special place. And how about our guest this week, Sleaze? Former NFL player Kyle Long. You and I, neither of us, we didn't know him at all. He agrees to come on the pod. He is a beauty.
He's awesome. I don't know if you've listened to any of the green light stuff he does. I heard him on Pardon My Take. He pops on there a good bit. He's awesome. He's just getting into golf, it sounds like. He loves it, consumes everything golf, reading books, doing all the shit, looking for that career after a career. And it's funny how golf does that, but man, it was fun to sit down with this guy. He's a great one. If you could get uncensored, grabbing a beer, hanging at the bar. He got some good stories. And by the way, if you ever listen to he and his brother on their podcast, like there's a couple of smart dudes, by the way. They're not like your stereotypical NFL guys. They get into some deep shit. They chop it up, and they got some unique thoughts. He's a fun guy to talk to, man.
All right, well, let's get to it. Here's Kyle Long on Golf Subpar.
Okay, folks, this was going to be a fun one here because we're a couple of golf dudes that love talking about football, and we got an actual football dude who loves talking about some golf. He's a 3-time Pro Bowler with the Chicago Bears. We got Kyle Long. What's up, Kyle?
How you guys doing? Thanks for having me.
Good, man. Thanks
for coming, dude.
By the way, you just let me know you're fresh off the range, early morning session out in Virginia. How'd it go this morning?
It went well. It gets hot out here, so if you can sneak out in the morning after the baby wakes up, after you get a little cuddle time in, and maybe do some dishes or something, then you can sneak out and get like an hour out there. I worked some wedges and I putt a little bit, but they had just punched Birdwood is where I went today. It's where UVA plays, and they had just punched their practice green. They have like a really beautiful practice green, and it was a beach. So I just picked it up from there and went to the short game area. And that's really where I've been told most of the shots happen. So I'm practicing a lot there and getting a feel for my 90, I call it a 90-degree swing, where I'm picking it up to my hip essentially and just letting gravity happen and praying to God that I'm athlete enough to have my hands figure it out on the way through. But it's been fun, man. It's a fun journey, as you guys know, and it's just as frustrating as anything else in life. I'm married just over a year. I have a 5-month-old daughter, nearly 5-month-old daughter, and the game of golf is new to me, like 4 years, and I'm really taking it seriously now. And there's nothing in life that makes me more frustrated than golf, but there's also nothing in life that makes me get out of bed at 5 a.m. on vacation to sneak in around before everybody else is awake. And then I'll bring everybody breakfast home, but that's the beauty of golf.
Yeah, you're all in. I mean, you got this bug. I looked at your Instagram. I mean, basically every single picture on there is a golf swing of yours.
Yeah, and I scroll down like 3 times and I click and I say, God, that's such a terrible move, but I'm not going to be the guy that deletes it. I'm going to keep everything up. I'm going to own my move. And one day, hopefully I can look back and say, look, if you go and you show up enough and you keep working at something with intent, the way that we're designed as humans is like, we're going to figure stuff out if we stick to it. And that's the story of our species, and golf is challenging that evolution now. So for all of us.
Yeah, you're an official golfer. You say you love it, but it's also the thing that drives you the most crazy in the whole world. So you're an official golfer right now. You said you got into it 4 years ago. What caused you to get into it? Because that's pretty late by like golf standards, right? And it's hard the later you get. What caused you to get into it?
Yeah, I remember I was turning 30 and I went out to play with some buddies of mine in spring ball. And it was the first spring in like 3 years that I had been healthy enough to go play golf with some of the guys. And they were all really good. Matt Slauson, offensive lineman, played at Nebraska and the Bears. Big, tatted up, burly dude. He looks like every biker from like a comedy movie that's working like the door at a biker bar. And he's got tremendous, he looks like Belly Corda out there. He's like a big fat tempo. He's like a big fat tempo god. He has a podcast as well, but he's a big golfer. And he got me into it. And I went out there and I couldn't even get it off the tee box. I couldn't even get to the fairway, and it was embarrassing. It was humiliating. I was a guy who played baseball, guy who played football. I consider myself an athlete. Golf is the great equalizer. It is the most humbling thing that you can do. And it's why I enjoy it. It's why millions of people flock to it.
Well, I'm sure you saw the clips recently of Jalen Rose trying to hit up at the Champions Tour event. He couldn't even make contact with the ball, so don't be too hard on yourself, because there's a pretty damn good athlete.
Moment when I saw Jalen swing, but then I take a look in the reflection of my camera right now and I see my hairline, and then I take a look at Jalen's and I say, well, there's some things that I have that he doesn't, and there's some things that he has that I will never have.
I think your hair looks great.
If you want to feel even better, there's a video of somewhere of LeBron trying to hit one on a range at like a Top Golf, and it's like, I mean, that's maybe the greatest athlete in the world athletically, and he can't even put the club on it. So
it's amazing. But I see a guy like Rory walking around, stomping around behind Scheffler, about to come like crawl up his ass this past weekend. It's like, that guy's a freak. He's built like a little beast. He's there's a reason Wes Welker, Julian Edelman, and these little white dudes have success in the NFL. It's because they work really hard. They know what they're doing, and they catch the ball when it's thrown to them in big situations. And in golf, the version of catching the ball when it's thrown to you in big situations is sticking one stiff out of the sand, or on 15, I think it was, right? He went out of the sand on 15, or no, Scheffler went out of the sand. He went out of the people on 15
on 16,
16, and then he drained the putt. That's like Edelman catching a ball in the Super Bowl. Like, so we see that side of the athletics clearly, the clutch gene, what we know, but what we don't see is Rory and pads running around. I'd love to see that. He's a great athlete.
He would get killed. He's a great athlete.
Maybe he wouldn't get touched. That's
true.
I mean, slot guy.
We're going to talk about some football later on because I got a little PGA Tour NFL question for you. But I mean, you can't be the easiest guy to fit golf clubs to. You're 6'6". I mean, you're an absolute monstrous human. Give us a little idea like what the specs are in Kyle Long's golf clubs.
So I went to Club Champion. A buddy of mine named Sam Lloyd found me on Twitter and was like, I need to fit you. He saw me crouching over the ball like 3 months ago with a set of PXGs, great clubs. I was using the 2nd gen, really forgiving. And he saw me crouched over the ball. He said, you need to come in and get a fitting with me. I texted my buddy. He vouched for him. He said, Club Champion's a great spot to go. You should go check him out. And I went in there and I spent like an hour and a half hitting, an hour and a half of like hit and drop it, hit and drop it, hit and drop it, like batting practice, essentially. I was drenched in sweat. And I got fit. I think it's like 1.5 inches plus on each one. I have steel shafts and I got the Bryson grips. I have.
Oh, really?
You got to have the big boy grips.
I figured you had big grips. I didn't know they'd be that big.
With 12 wraps.
I have massive grips, and it's just they make them now where it's just one grip. Like I play with a couple old heads that used to play in the NBA that are like 6'10" with Shrek hands, and they say, "Man, let me see those grips," and they feel them, and they go, "God, this feels so good." Back in the day, we used to have to wrap 14 layers around this so that it wouldn't get lost in your palm. So yeah, I got that going for me. I got the ferrules. I learned what ferrules are. I got a beautiful tuxedo striped ferrules on all my irons. And yeah, I got a set of, he asked me the way that I got my TaylorMade set. He said, what do you have in your bag in PGA 2K? Because we couldn't figure out what I wanted. And I didn't want PXG because I didn't want to spend all that money. And he said, what do you have in your bag on PGA? Because I don't want to sell you on anything. And I said, well, I use TaylorMade because I like the concept of like something's tailor-made for you. You know what I'm saying? Like a bespoke suit. Mm-hmm. There's nothing sexier than putting on a suit. Colt, you know what I'm talking about. When it fits you the right way, bro, there's nothing better in the world. It's
much easier to fit me for golf clubs than a suit.
So that's what holding my clubs felt like when I first got them. And then when I first went out to play with them, being that they were 1.5 inches longer, I was, standing up straighter at address. My game has been all over the place, but I'm developing good habits. My misses are good misses. And I'm happy with it. The game's fun. And yeah, I love it. It's important to get fit for clubs for sure. If you're getting started. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not an off the rack type of a dude. No. You ain't gonna have a whole lot of luck with that. But when you're going out, you're obviously big into this. I want to get into some of this literature that you said you've been reading on golf recently. But when you go out and play and you're with your boys and stuff, are you like head down, focused, or are you, have some drinks, listen to music, that type of guy?
Well, on the way to the course, I do listen to a lot of the Rotella stuff.
I love that.
Golf's not a game of perfect.
But that's just on the way to the course. Now, when I'm at the course, I do try to immerse myself in the round because the roots of playing are in competition, but the things we really enjoy, the side effects, the positive ones of golf are you're in nature, you're with your friends, you get some hours blocked off to yourself where you don't have to look at your cell phone and all that shit. And that's the great thing about golf, and that's what I try to immerse myself in. Now, along the way, there's going to be horrible shots. More often than not, they're going to be not pretty from me. But I love hitting the great ones. And when you do, it's like, see that golfer's in there sometimes. I've been playing recently, like the 9-hole course at Farmington Country Club where I belong in Charlottesville. And it's a beautiful course. They have a little 9-hole track. I don't bring my driver. I have a little Sunday bag. Hybrid's the biggest, 4 hybrids, the biggest club I have. And we go out and we just, sometimes we'll play 2 balls a guy. And that's the kind of style we play. It's the same guy who fit me for clubs, Sam Lloyd. I'll go play with him. And he's a really good golfer. He's like a plus. He's like not a +1. He's a 1. And he's fun to play with. He's a really good golfer. As you guys know, when you play with somebody who's better than you, as a young guy in golf, who I am, I consider myself like a 12-year-old in the golf world. It's like watching a college golfer or something. And I can learn something from him all the time. And when I play 2 balls, I can hit a shot and then he can say, okay, now try this with your second shot. and it's fun to see it happen in front of you. And it's like that second golfer is a fucking 5 handicap.
Yeah.
Like for real though, like if we're, it's in there, even if you are a 12 like I am, the 5 is in there somewhere, and that's what you're chasing. It's like a really bad heroin addiction or something.
That's how we explain it.
I was playing a practice round with Spieth one time, and we dropped and hit. I hit a shot and it was shit, and I dropped another one, hit it perfect. I was like, "Yeah, Jordan, that second guy flies private." He goes, "Colt, the first guy over here does too." I was like, "You son of a bitch."
Fuck you, Jordan.
Yeah.
I heard
Give me a ride.
I heard a Michael Jordan story. It was Jordan and Bird, and Larry Bird hit like a corner 3 in Michael's face, and he said, "That's how they give me all them Mercedes." Or he said, "That's how I get all them Mercedes." And then Michael comes down and fucking sticks one right in his eye, and he was like, "That's why they give me the Mercedes and the Ferrari." And that's kind of that's kind of the same thing we were talking about. What I've been reading, it's like Tiger and Phil. Do you always hit your 3-wood that far? Usually further.
Yeah.
That's the part of the game that's great, and I'm learning how to do that because I'm in my own head enough. I need to take that energy and throw it on somebody else and be toxic. Find a way to get into somebody else's head instead of my own.
See, and I wish, honestly, like with golf trying to become more entertaining, I wish there was more of that on the PGA Tour. I wish there was some shit talking. I mean, there's a story about Phil bringing up how he had dinner with Tony Romo at Pebble Beach when Tony Romo was Tiger Woods' partner.
Yes.
Like just to try to get in Tiger's head. And Phil played great.
Hey, great having dinner with you. What do you say? Great having dinner with you last night,
that was
Tony.
great.
Yeah, that was so fun last night. Patting him on the back.
Like, I love that. Like, I wish there was more of that. It would be more entertaining to watch if we could hear these guys talking shit to each other.
I think Tony wanted to crawl into a hole.
That's it. And I think that's like the fourth dimension in golf fandom, right? Is being able to really get into who these guys are between, on the way to 17, but in the woods up the hill behind ropes. Like, what are they talking about back there? Because I went to the US. I've only been to one pro event, and that was the US Open at Brookline. And
what'd you think?
Man, it was spectacular. The one image I can't get out of my head is you could feel the focused energy at the tee boxes, even with a massive crowd around, just waiting to breathe, sneeze, fart, whatever, laugh. But these guys are at address, and it's like that Kevin Costner movie, For the Love of the Game. Clear the mechanism when you're on that mound, and everything goes blurry. It's like you're looking through a peephole in a hotel. Down a hallway. It's all you're focused on is that. And that's these guys at address. And one guy in particular, long story short, was Adam Scott. And when I watched him on the left side in the first cut, address his ball, step off, address his ball, change clubs. These guys are taking their time. I get up, I hit a bad shot. I'm so embarrassed about the shot that I just hit. I'm going to get up quick, address it, and whack it, and probably going to hit another bad shot, right? That's what I need to avoid. And when you go watch the best at what they do, they're taking their time. Like, this is their time.
And did you being at that tournament, that being your first tournament, when you see these dudes hit it in real life? It's like for us when we go to a football game and we're able to get down close to the field, like, holy shit, you get an appreciation for how big these dudes are, how fast they're moving, how hard they're hitting on every play. It doesn't come across on TV. Same with golf. You just see the the shot tracer and you're like, oh, it's straight. But when you see it in real life,
everything's pure.
Totally different animal.
And then you're standing. I'm standing back behind the tee box, looking down the barrel of a long par 4. Not one of these dog legs either way. You know the type, straight away, long par 4, protected either side, maybe some natural boundaries on the right. And I'm like, Jesus, what do I even hit here? I'm probably hitting in my mind, I was like, I got to hit a 6-iron here, and then another 6-iron, and then make a 2-putt. But these guys get up. Some of them hit driver, some of them hit 3-wood. There's water on the right. There's, sand on the left. And it looks like a mile long, and they're all within 20 yards of one another at varying distances in terms of length. But it's incredible the spread of the balls. And you sit in one spot and you watch a couple groupings or come through. They're all in the same area. They all have different ways to get there in terms of the way their ball flies. And I wish we need to invent something where you can wear like a goggle while you're at a tournament, and it can give you the shot tracer, like an overlay. I think that would
make
be
my
sick.
job a lot easier.
Yeah.
I would never lose the ball in the sky and say it's right down the middle when it's actually in the fucking bunker.
You wouldn't have to rely on Skippy, who was sitting over there smoking his weed pen, who's like, I think the ball lands over here, man. Yeah.
I listen to anyone out there. But are you all in on the weekends? Like you're watching every bit of golf you can? Or
no,
is it something you'd rather be playing?
I don't watch as much as I should. Obviously watching live was really cool. I'm going to start watching more. When I was watching, I follow Max. Obviously, everybody loves Max, but I had an opportunity to play with Max and Joe in Scottsdale this past spring, and it was a great opportunity to see a really good guy, good dude who is a great player, and Joe obviously is a really good stick as well, and he's a lefty, so that was fun to watch. So I watched Max and a couple of the other guys. Cam Smith has been fun to watch, but now he's going elsewhere. He's still going to be watchable. Like I said, Rory, obviously the good ones, I like to focus on the really good ones, but I don't keep up with week to week. And with football starting here, I'm going to be watching nothing but the pigskin stuff. Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
I don't blame you.
By the way, Max, you should probably copy that tempo if you're looking for a tempo.
That's a good one to emulate if you're trying to get right.
He's great. He's pretty awesome.
We got the scouting report on that round, actually, from Max and Joe, talking about your game. Said you're one of the greatest 4-iron players in the history of the world. The driver doesn't come out of the bag a whole lot, but that 4-iron, they said you were Hogan-esque.
They are good guys. And that's why I sing their praises every opportunity I have. And, I really look forward to playing, potentially with great players like yourselves. And I want to see you guys go at it in terms of the chirping.
It's like Max,
I like the chirp. I like the chirping. That's really like, if you're a good chirp and you're a good hang, like, let's go play golf. If you're not going to get frustrated, that's what I tell guys when they're like, so you golf, would you ever play with me? And I'm like, hey, do you make a time spent with me shitty? That's really the question, right? Like,
that's
good.
A good question.
Yeah. I actually was with Max yesterday, and he made a hole-in-one at Whisperock. Yeah. 7-iron, just gorgeous from 209 down the hill. It got right to its peak, and it's right on line. I go, Max, I didn't really want to drink today, and this thing lands and goes right in the middle. I'm like, God damn it.
Can't turn down a free one.
Kid.
Can't turn down a free one.
No, but he's at the point now he has to give me 2 aside, so I love chirping him when I make 4 for 3 on my stroke holes, and it just pisses him off.
Yeah. Okay, so one thing I got called on the other day is, so people have obviously been giving me dots. I get dot holes, strokes, and one time I said, I always say what I'm really laying. I don't say what I'm netting. And the guy got mad at me. He was like, because you're dotting, you're laying 4, you're laying 2. I was like, no, I'm laying 3. I got a par putt coming. He was like, no, you have a birdie putt. He's like, you have
tell
a
that
dot.
guy to relax.
Okay.
Yeah, I've never heard anyone say the net. You say I'm laying 3, I get a pop.
Another thing that happened today, I wanted to clear the air about this, and I almost recorded a video in my car, but it's like I'm at the range today, and there's a guy in t-shirt and shorts, probably like 50, old athlete. He only has a driver with him. He's got 2 gloves on, and he has like a small bucket of balls probably. And he is going through this bucket of balls so fast, and the balls are coming whizzing right by me. I'm standing like three lanes away from him, essentially. And he runs out of balls, and I have a large bucket halfway done. And I look at him and I say, take some of these, man. I'm taking my time. I got somewhere to be here shortly anyway. I'm not going to finish these. He goes, oh, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. I didn't want to have to do that. And I hit like 3 more balls. And the guy sprints over in the middle of my backswing. He goes, getting 3 more. And he 2-hand scoops out of my bucket like a grown man. It was just me and him at the range. And these are the only balls on the range. The guy comes over, 2-hand scoops, and I hit it. And I step off, and I'm like, you got it, man. Like, I wasn't being like malignant with my words at all. I was like, hey, man, you got it. I was so chilling in the moment. Like I said, you can, like, if you're on a golf course, anything could happen, and you better be happy. You just better be happy.
Nothing like a morning range session where you just hit 100 drivers.
That's a ballsy dude to steal a bunch of balls from. Kyle.
He was a big guy. I'll give it to him. Maybe he had hands.
He ain't as big as you.
He ain't that big. He ain't big enough. That's when you got to get out there if you're him and run and grab some of the short wedges that people hit to warm up and take your life into your own hands. Like, how bad do you want to hit 3 more shots?
I do like getting to know guys that are from different generations, and that's one thing I appreciate about golf is I get to go out and play with guys who I've never met. Like I started belonging to this country club, and they want you to play with members, so they try to set you up with rounds with people. And I meet folks, and I'm from this town. I meet folks that I didn't know in a small town, and it's cool that they're in different types of businesses. And I was in the NFL. I don't know shit about finance. I don't know anything about my taxes. I don't know anything about who does my insurance or whatever. These guys can teach you a lot. These guys and gals that you meet at golf courses, because there's a reason that they can, afford to be out there every Thursday and Friday and Saturday. And there's a reason maybe Trish is there every 10 a.m. on every Tuesday practicing, because, she might run her own business. You could learn something from her. And that's the way I've been treating a lot of these rounds. Not like I'm trying to take something from golf in a bad way, but it's a good way to keep you involved, and it's a good social thing too. And also for work, I guess people like to play golf, even the bosses at my job. So that's been a lot of fun.
Everyone likes to play golf. You meet a lot of very interesting people. But I got to question one thing you've done, because you told me you recently introduced your wife to the game, and that's a very bold play, my friend.
Kyle. Careful, bud.
You know what? I got a really good one, and I think I'm making this move. I'm sacrificing myself and my freedoms as a man, because we just had a daughter. And I know that the second guy that I play with, usually I told you he's a 5 handicap. I think my daughter she's got scratch in her. And if my wife is on board before she's like, 3 years old with golf, and she can be part of this journey, I might have to go, Captain Insano and just, have this girl in the high chair hitting wedges like Mr. Woods, like Earl did it. I just read
Richard or whatever. Yeah.
That book, Earl Woods, being, Tiger was what? Not even a year old, and he's sitting in the high chair watching him in the garage. I want my wife to be on board with that. When I start to go a little sideways as a dad, that's my thinking. I'm thinking down the road.
See, in my opinion, it's just that's my alone time.
That's your sanctuary.
That's where I get away.
My zen spot where, like, all right, there's no babies crying, no nothing. This is just get away, have some pops.
There's adult men crying.
Fellas. Yeah, sometimes there's some men crying.
She lets me get away, so that's good. I mean, I do. We work hard, we play hard. You guys know how it goes. I mean, there's a lot more that goes into this than just showing up and turning on the camera. You guys work really hard over at Subpar, and you got to put out a product every week. And with what I do with the Sunday show, and my brother and I have a podcast. Check out Greenlight Pod. We talk everything, NFL, everything like that. Chris is a really bright dude, and a lot of fun to listen to. But everybody works hard, and if you have something you enjoy, you can't tell me no. I mean, you can't tell me no. If I really am enjoying something and you love me, if you love them, let them leave. What is the saying? What the hell do they say?
If you love it,
let it go.
If you love it, let it go. And if it comes back, then it's love or some shit like that.
That's golf, baby. It's just 4 hours.
We're big readers over here.
It's just 4 hours. Guys. Let me go. Come on.
That's fair. What got you? You mentioned your podcast and your Sunday show. What got you into the NASCAR?
The NASCAR stuff just kind of happened organically as a hobby. Growing up in Central Virginia, people really like either 24 or they really like 3. And there was a lot of the kids pissing on the numbers on the back of the cars. You guys know the bumper stickers. I liked 3, and I still do. Austin Dillon, shout out Austin Dillon. He won at Daytona, going to be in the playoffs. Paul Swan and I did a podcast, or essentially a YouTube show for NASCAR last year. Paul Swan, who is he's really high up in the AD3 pit crew. We did a podcast last year, essentially covering the week to week off the track stuff for these drivers. It was a lot of fun. And I mean, I do iRacing behind me. I have my racing simulator, and I do everything from, 24-hour GT3 races and NASCAR, Formula One, all that stuff. And it's fun to do.
Yeah, you got your foot in a lot of different things here. I want to go back to, you said on your Twitter, you're like, I've been digging into golf literature, right? I want to know, give me some of the books. I believe one of the ones that you've read was the Shipnuck book.
Don't say his name.
On Phil.
Don't say his name.
He Who Shan't Be Named book on Phil. He's like Bruno. Give me, because Colt and I haven't read it. We're not big readers, but give us the breakdown on that book. Was it a smear on Phil, or did you come away liking Phil more?
What it was, those roasts that they do where they bring all the top people from the late night Comedy Central and they bring them in and they roast their buddies. And
love those.
It's and you walk away going, man, he either wore it well or they didn't wear it well. I didn't get to see Phil's reaction to the book, but it was a phenomenal read for a guy who has never read anything about golf. And I had just read the Tiger book with the Armin Katayan book, and that was fascinating. And to go to Phil, they were just like polar opposites, but they're both, sharks in their own way. They called him Fig Jam, which is fuck, I'm good, just ask me. And there's so many guys that we know as Fig Jams without calling them Fig Jams. Like that's a great way to put your finger on something. I really like what they did there. The stories, man, it's all about the stories. And a lot of it was pre-cell phone stuff. A lot of it was pre-internet. I get to hear about that era from my dad, who played from 81 to 95, which is like the heyday, like the last bastion of privacy for pro athletes, really. And to get to have a look at that. And then, Phil being at ASU, wild. Just being so good. Some of the guys he played with, the gambling. I'm not a gambler, so some of these numbers are astronomical, and I'm not a golfer, so some of these numbers are astronomical.
Whether you're a gambler or not, they're astronomical.
Yeah, if you bleed blood, they're astronomical.
And like some of the shady characters, the involvement with shady characters, it's wild. And I'm not even gonna get into the live stuff, and I'm not against talking about that, but that's just a chapter, bro. That's like the live stuff is just like a chapter in the book. I would definitely read it.
Let me ask you this: if you're Phil and you read that book, would you come away pissed, like this paints me in a bad light, or would you be like, that was fair and that was actually like pretty, on my side?
Well, Phil did have some openings along the journey to speak with Alan by Alan's accounts, and Phil gave him some, his 2 cents every once in a while when asked a question, but Alan had a book that he was writing. And I think Phil wasn't blindsided by it. Hopefully he wasn't too taken aback by it because the shit is already public. It's just like a deeper dive into it. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing that was groundbreaking, but it was just detailed. And it gave guys like me a vision of what Phil was really like behind that charming smile and that beautiful swing.
Yeah, I actually heard it was very fair.
Yeah, I mean,
it wasn't unauthorized. Like a smear job.
The thing that bothered me was the unauthorized biography. Like,
I liked it. It was kind of like punk edgy on the cut. They crossed it out unauthorized. I was like, hey, you know what? I like it.
I think after airing the quotes that got him in trouble in February, he could write the most glowing book in history about Phil, and he ain't gonna like it.
That's right. But you brought up your dad. I want to go back to that because obviously, growing up, watching him play football, what was that like? Like when you started to take football seriously, was there like extra pressure on you and your brother to be great considering who your dad was?
Yeah, I mean, when I was 5, he retired and he had won a Super Bowl, obviously, and in LA. I mean, I can only imagine what the hell that was like. That's like Homo winning, in LA. It's cool. LA is a great town. So we moved to Virginia after the earthquakes and the riots and, all that stuff. They retired. We moved to Virginia, and I didn't play football until I was, 16, really. And it was when my younger brother was slotted to become the varsity quarterback. And my dad, and I'd always ask my dad if I could play football, and he would say, Kyle, it's not for everybody. And that was his way of kind of saying, you're a pussy.
That's great.
As your 6'6"
and
truck.
I'm a nice kid. I'm friendly. Like, I consider myself a kid. I've referred to myself as a 12-year-old multiple times this conversation, but like, that's just the reality of it. Like, and Dad saw that. And what he didn't see was a guy who was really loyal and protective of his family. And when I came to the football team as a sophomore, my younger brother was a freshman starter. It was like, the string orchestra started playing, and it just made sense. Like things worked. And the same thing with baseball, honestly. But there was some things that I could channel in football that I couldn't in baseball. And getting to chuck people around and have fun out there was a great time. And yeah, there was a tremendous amount of pressure. Every kid who played against me fucking hated me. Every team I played against thought my dad had paid the refs. Of
course.
Every D lineman tried, most D linemen were trying to cut my legs out before. They wouldn't even let me block them. They were just trying to cut my legs out just to eliminate me so I wouldn't go get the linebacker. That was stuff I was used to, and I thought that a lot of kids dealt with. And add to the fact I played at a private school, and that there's kind of an MO, perceived MO about private school kids. And I'm coaching at a private school now, and I'm really trying to rid that perception through teaching these kids hard work and showing them what it's about. You don't have to be poor to work hard. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be, from a single parent home to experience any type of struggle. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody starts on different playing fields, and it's all about what you put in to figure out where you end up. And that's kind of the mindset I had to keep. And I listened to a lot of Lil Wayne mixtapes in high school, and I was trying to keep it gangster. You know what I'm saying? I was breaking down some lyrics for my wife earlier from a Lil Wayne song from his heyday. I forget which one
was it. You remember it?
I forget which one it was. Okay. He said, make him feel the Escalade, put his feet in the blades. You remember that one?
Okay.
On the heat and the blaze. He's like, yeah. You know what I'm talking about. But that was the stuff that I had to listen to because I saw my brother listening to it. And, kids called us Richie Rich and all that. Howie's kids, sperm of Howie, you name it. Like, every article about us as athletes started with the son of Howie, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
That was a chip on our shoulder. We used it. And, 15, 16 years later, we're hanging out and we're playing golf. And Chris lives at the golf course, and fuck those kids.
Fuck them kids.
Yeah, it worked out all right for both of you.
You were a beast, like baseball player, drafted out of high school. That's what you actually went to Florida State to do, right? Was you were a pitcher?
Yeah, I went to Florida State, and then I forgot about everything that I just told you guys, and I ended up rarely going to class and partying all the time. And it was my first time away from home. I shouldn't have gone that far away to school, but I don't have regrets about it because I got a DUI and I went out west. I got clean and went to junior college for 2 years. So a guy who got drafted essentially would have been drafted 2 sports, pretty much high school, ends up in junior college on the West Coast. I don't know anybody. I'm working at a Jack's Surfboards in Newport Beach, making minimum wage. And I think I got fired like my 3rd month because I was smoking too many cigarettes out front. And they were like, this is like a business, Kyle. Like, you can't do that. So they told me to leave. And that's when I went and played football at junior college. And yeah, Mark McElroy was my coach. He was like, will you show up to practice? I said, yes. And, the rest is history. I played 2 years there. And then Chip Kelly offered me to play at Oregon. I rode the bench until week 10. Somebody got hurt. I came in, played well enough to get an invite to the Senior Bowl. And I played well enough there against some really stiff competition. SEC guys, it was my first opportunity to play against the guys from the SEC who are like, I would imagine it's like being a U.S. player and getting your first opportunity to play against guys from across the pond. Like, that they play the same game, but it's a different style and they have yada, yada, yada. I went down to the Senior Bowl and I just kind of went Batman on some guys, and it worked out well. And the Bears drafted me in the first round, and everybody said it was a stretch because of my dad. And then again, I found myself in that cycle of thinking where it's like, oh yes, fuck them. Like, I want to read everything, like I'll read everything. And I did. And, I went Pro Bowl rookie, all pro 2nd year, Pro Bowl 3rd year at tackle. I switched positions, and then I got hurt. I got rolled up on 3 years in a row. Now I got metal in my neck, in my leg. I've got a reconstructed right ankle. I've got 2 torn labrums. Each shoulder is torn. And then I have the Tommy John tear. I haven't fixed it yet, but I can play golf and I can walk 18 holes. And sometimes I can walk 36. And my wife lets me. And I love golf. And you guys get it.
Yeah, you're perfect. Just God,
if you get that Tommy John, you might be throwing 100 right now. Too might not be.
Don't talk. I'm just dumb enough to try it. So just shut up.
But So you obviously were on the offensive line. Your brother was on the defensive line. Did y'all ever go up against each other in the NFL?
Oh yeah. I never
Let's hear about that.
Yes.
I never thought you'd ask about that. So, Chris, my brother, my dearest brother, Chris, he's 4 years older than me. Defensive end. He was the number 2 pick in the NFL draft out of University of Virginia. Highly educated, Grammy nominated, whatever the fuck Kanye said.
He's got it all.
Everything.
Okay, so Chris was everybody's All-American. I went to high school pretty much in his shadow. We ended up going to the league different times. Obviously, he was on the Rams. He, 80 sacks in the NFL. He had double-digit sacks 4 times, I want to say. Never made a Pro Bowl, and in large part that's due to the market. I know the PGA just had a change in the salaries and popularity and all that kind of shit, and some guys have issue with that, as they well should. Same kind of issue my brother should have with Pro Bowl voting, because he's a Pro Bowler in my book. He was a better player for longer in the league than I was. And he's got 2 Super Bowls. Hard to beat that for me. But we played against each other my rookie year. We were in St. Louis. It was a Thursday game on Thanksgiving. And my entire family was there because my dad does Fox NFL Sunday, and he was able to be there. And bunch of family in town, bunch of friends. And William Hayes, Chris's best buddy on the D line on the Rams, finds me after an interception and hits me late. So I chase him 30 yards down the field, and I get him on the ground, and I start giving him the business. Like physically, not just yelling at him. Like I'm on him. I'm digging elbows in the throat. And you're not allowed to punch, right? You're not allowed to punch, kick, spit, but you can dig elbows and you can push a little bit until they get you off of them. I got a little carried away. The whole Rams defense is on me now, pulling me off of him. My brother sprints off the sideline to pull me off. 7 of the Rams guys just give up. 2 of my guys are over there pulling. When they get my arms back, I kicked William Hayes, who I'm still friends with today. And Chris was there, and he was the one that got me off. And wow, he got me off of a pile. He didn't get me off. That was a strange clip.
Right.
But
that'll be our clip.
Pause.
Yeah, that'll be our highlight clip.
So Chris pulls me off of the pile, and I remember chaos ensued. It was a bit, referees, nobody knows what to do. It's a melee on the field, but the fight's over. There's just a lot of commotion. Chris looks at me. He's 5 yards away from me, and he says, "Now you're going to get that fucking FedEx." And I didn't know what he was talking about. Turns out the next week, by the way, the night was terrible. The Rams beat us. We got bullied. Chris had a great game. I didn't play so well. That next week on Wednesday, I had a FedEx in my locker, and it was like a $30,000 fine from the NFL. Clearly, Chris has had a few FedEx boxes, and he was giving me fair warning. So, and the great thing about being an away team on that day was we left the stadium immediately and went to the hotel. We flew home. Chris had to stay in St. Louis at the team hotel, or at the hotel at the Ritz, like whatever, watch with the 30 family members. And everybody was bent out of shape. Is Kyle going to get kicked out? Yeah, he's a rookie. Oh, it's terrible. Everybody thought I was a criminal. It's not a good day. So, yeah, we played. And then we did have a joint. We've played multiple times. We played in the wild card game, the double doink game. You remember that? Cody Parkey? Chris was in that game. Bears 2018 against the Eagles in the wild card. It was my first year in the playoffs. And it was their D-line was Michael Bennett, Brandon Graham, Chris, you name it, they had dudes. And we had Trubisky at quarterback. He was a Pro Bowler that year. We were playing great. Matt Nagy was coach of the year. And we got to like a 43-yard field goal, left hash. Our offense got all the way down the field to take the lead, and we missed the field goal. It hit the left upright, and then it hit the right upright.
Doink.
Yeah, and Collinsworth, I think Collinsworth said, "Oh, the double doink." He was like, "What's the double doink?" And since then, Cody Parkey went on Good Morning America. He got released. We had 30 kickers in rookie minicamp the next year. It was like a mind fuck. It ruined our whole season. Like the next season was terrible. Oh. Everybody got fired. They blew the whole building up. You know the deal. So we played Chris in that game, which is historic. His kids walk up to me and say double doink still. And we did
nice parenting. Yeah, Chris.
We
nice
did
parenting.
we did a joint practice in New England with Bill Belichick, and John Fox was the coach for the Bears. And joint practice is a week of practicing against the Patriots, as the Bears. And my brother's on the D line, I'm on the O line, and practice sucks. And we're going to be there the whole week. Luckily, there was no fights the entire week. I did break his ribs on that Wednesday. He beat me with an inside rush, and I went to block him here, and he went this way, and I went here, and all I had was my right hand available, and I just threw it across my body, and I hit him square in the ribs. He yelped like a dog when you step on their tail or something. It still hurts him, his rib, that bastard. And so we've played against each other. Always stressful. It's my least favorite thing is playing against my brother. I'd rather be in an altercation with somebody I don't know.
Who's the better golfer?
Me.
Okay. No, hands. That was quick.
He doesn't play, so it's kind of I'm a shoe-in. I'm a shoe-in.
Okay. Oh, okay. So you got that. Go back to that fight though in St. Louis, because that William Hayes. Didn't you just go on a vacation with him before that? Weren't y'all boys already?
Yeah. So when I got drafted by the Bears, the University of Oregon's it was on quarter system or something, and I wasn't able to go to the spring practices with the newly drafted players. For whatever reason, other schools that were on trimesters, guys were graduated in the right time, they could be there. So Chris said, why don't you just come hang out with the D-line from the Rams? We're going to Vegas for Memorial Day. I said, great. I just got paid, let's go. Screw it. So we go out there. It's William Hayes. It's all those boys. And we had an absolute blast. It was my first real core memory as an NFL player. I felt like I was in the league. You know what I mean? Everywhere we went, girls were checking us out, or at least in my mind, in my young rookie mind, I was like, these girls all are checking us out. They all love us. We're so handsome and cool. And which is not the case, but that was my core memory. William Hayes was there. He's always been like a big brother to me. And yeah, he tried me, man. He really came at me, and we always talk about it still. Chris will Chris and I will be drunk, and he'll FaceTime William Hayes, and just to have us stare at each other like two dogs when you rub their heads together. It's
That's great. That is awesome. Oh, we could talk football stories all day.
I'm gonna ask one more just because we're talking about going up against your brother and how much it sucks and things like that. Not counting your brother, give me just the scariest dude that you played against, lining up on the other side. You're like, fuck, I got 4 quarters against this dude. He's an animal. Who'd you dread the most?
Well, they're all scary.
Yeah.
My rookie year, the Bears drafted me to protect Jay Cutler from Ndamukong Suh. And that was when he was on the Lions, and I'm a guard, so Ndamukong Suh is my guy. And the first time we went to Detroit, it was, week 7 or something, I want to guess. I hadn't given up a sack. He called me golden boy in the media the whole week. You know what I mean? He really laid it on thick. He's old school chirp. He would have been with the Hickory clubs. He would have been a good shit talker then. And we went and played them in Detroit, which is, historically not a tremendous team, but that place gets raucous. And that defense at the time had really good players, Willie Young being one of them, defensive end, and Suh. And Suh bull rushed me, went to the outside. I threw him to the outside, and Cutler was escaping to the right because somebody over there got beat. I can't remember. Either Cutler felt me and he tried to run, or somebody else was there. Suh got a sack. It was the first sack I'd given up, and it was I knew that I was on TV. It was the first time I had been beat publicly. It was a real make or break moment for me in my career. And the only saving grace that I had was, you get to line up and play again in 10, 15 seconds. And we battled, man. We battled, and I really feel like they dropped that day. My boys dropped that day, and I got to play him again. I got to play him again at Soldier Field, 6 weeks later, and I fared better that game. And it was really a UFC fight. You know what I mean? You watch some of these fights, and you're like, my God, these guys are never going to go down. They're just beating the shit out of each other. It was like that. And at the end of it, when the final whistle blew, it was like, I respect you, you respect me. No words were said. I still haven't talked to Suh. I mean, I saw him at the Pro Bowl that year, actually. My locker was right next to him for practice. Still didn't talk to me. He kind of gave me the, He knew me. He knew me, though. Yeah. He fucking knew me. And I was so excited about that. But yeah, Sue is that. And then the guy that I didn't match up against ever was Aaron Donald, because the games that we played against them, I was lucky. A tackle. But when he got in the league in training camp, Chris called me and he said, "We have a Hall of Famer that we just drafted." And I was like, "Shut the fuck up, dude." I was like, quit taking your mushrooms. It's Tuesday. And he was like, "No, Kyle, I'm serious. This guy is really, really, really good. Aaron Donald. You should check him out." And then lo and behold, Aaron Donald is Aaron Donald.
He's ridiculous. God. Watching him do those drills and stuff when they were on Hard Knocks, I'm like, how does a man that big move that fast?
Yeah, it's stupid. It's stupid.
Yeah, he's got his shirt off. I'm like, I'm not the same species. No, we're not. This is not. This is like varsity and then D team.
I want to see a guy like that with all that hip power just get some lessons and just smooth a couple woods.
Yeah. Can he move?
I don't know if he can put his arms together.
Like turn. Dude, I'm convinced that guy can do anything. If you told me he could fly, I would say he could probably fly. Yeah, you're right.
He's a beast. All right, well, we got to get in.
That'd be a tough one.
We got to get into our E9 real quick before we let you get out of here. We asked this to everyone. You can trade lives with anyone, dead or alive. You get to be him for a day. Who's it going to be?
Bobby Jones, post-retirement.
God, you are a golf nut.
Damn, that was great. Quick, too. Quick on the trigger.
Post-retirement. Interesting.
Ooh, what was he doing, bro?
Yeah, that was before Twitter and all that.
He was definitely getting more money off. He had the Bobby Jones Live Tour, the non-blood money, big money. He was, because he took his earnings and then he just created an underground like backdoor poker game between all these guys. That's what I'm convinced of.
I love this.
Bobby Jones post-retirement.
It's called fan fiction. That's what I'm doing right now.
Okay, fan fiction. I like that. All right, I've been told that you're a big drinker of John Daly's on the golf course, and everywhere you go, you give a ranking, like which course got the best John Daly's. Give me the Kyle Long best John Daly's in the country.
So
ranking breakdown.
The best, I had a Yellowstone John Daly, and I don't know what was in it. It was at the Yellowstone Club, and that was phenomenal. That was special. Now I'll give a special nod to Montana because I'm a summer resident there. The number 2 one, which is usually number 1, is Birdwood golf course at the Boar's Head Inn, is like stupid. All their drinks are delicious. The transfusion there is phenomenal, but the Daily is like a fastball. You can call it and it hits every time.
What do you think makes it a great John Daly? Is there something secret in there that we don't know about?
The ratio?
I don't want it to be too, because if it's too strong, you're reminded of what you're doing.
Fair.
And if it's too light, you can always get another one.
Okay. Touche.
Yeah, it's like a lag. Right, it's like a lag putt with booze.
All right,
anything at Yellowstone, I gotta think has got to be the best.
It's pretty good.
Yeah,
you can go hang out with Faldo in Montana in the summer. He'll give you some lessons.
Yeah, I want to go up to Banff with Elvie. I want to go talk to Elvie up there in the Canadian Rockies.
Yeah.
Okay.
See a moose.
See a moose. All right, next one. You come to a long line at a crowded Chicago bar or restaurant. Who has a better chance of getting to skip the line and let in? A star player for the Bears or the Cubs?
It depends on their record. But I'm going to say a star player on the Bears.
Okay. Cubs are a pretty big deal as well. Chicago's a very passionate sports city. They love all
Yeah, but if the doorman is wearing a White Sox hat.
They're split town. Good point. Tough shit. Go to the back.
It depends on which team the Bear threw the first pitch out for.
Okay.
There's layers to this shit. Chicago's, it's complicated. It's like House of Cards, bro.
Maybe the dude's from Detroit. You never know.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. You mentioned him earlier. I need to know this. In your opinion, where is Jay Cutler more elite? As a quarterback or on reality TV?
I would have to say on reality TV because
he was a beast.
You can't replicate what he does and his personality, and that's really how he wakes up and is. He's just that way, and I love to annoy Jay, man. He's so much fun, and on the football field he's serious, and it takes away from the way people feel about him because he doesn't want to go talk to the press after a game, win or loss. Like, he doesn't want to fucking talk to the press. But when you get him out there in a reality TV setting, he doesn't feel the same type of pressure to perform and carry a team. He can just be himself, and he is elite at being Jay Cutler. Nobody's better at being themselves than Jay Cutler.
He was whatever the show with Kristen was. He was unreal. Yeah. He needs another one. Would just follow Jay around. Give a shit who else is on it. Just follow him around. Let me see what he does. I was mesmerized by him.
You got to get him on. He does pods now. He's got a great studio.
Let's get him.
Let's
get him.
Yeah.
We'll lean on you for that.
Is he a golfer at all?
No, but he is
Colorado,
a freak athlete. Like,
yeah,
silly. Pick up anything and do it type. And he's explosive. Jump out of the gym, explosive.
He's a quarterback. Yeah.
All right. Well, you mentioned you would like to see Rory with some pads on, so I'm going to throw this at you. I need you to pick one offensive player and one defensive player out of the current pool of PGA Tour players. Who are you going to take?
I'm going to put Tony Finau at tight end.
Okay.
And I'm going to put
I'd put like Sepp Straka at nose tackle.
No, I'm going to put
Barnwright right in the middle.
I'm going to put Scheffler at D end, and I'm going to put Finau at tight end, and we're going to have a nice little third down matchup there.
Okay.
Have some length.
I like it.
Some length. Yeah, Scheffler. All right.
I put Rory in the slot, and I'd probably put Max somewhere out there. Although, like, he's got that jaunt about him when he walks. I don't know if he's a good sprinter.
He walks like someone got the cool knocked out of him.
Yeah.
It's all right. Where am I here? All right, here we go. Here's one you probably also saw coming. But as a man, where do you feel most vulnerable? On a hole where you are forced to hit driver off the tee and you got trouble on both sides, or Instagram Live in Club Dub?
Oof, I would say I probably panic more on the tee box where you have to clear 280. Because that's like the cutoff for my 4 hybrid. The guy go from 4 hybrid to driver. I don't have anything between yet, so that's fear inducing. Now, everybody has a penis, right? Everybody's been naked. Everybody's been naked in a locker room. Now, my guy Tariq Cohen, good homie of mine. I still talk to him. He made a lapse in judgment as a young player, and we have 5 minutes in the locker room after the 1, 2, 3 team. We have 5 minutes before there's any media allowed, right? So a veteran says, I'm going to get my towel and go to the bathroom and go take a shower and get out of here and get on the bus and go do whatever it is that grown folks do after they get off work. Tariq wants to dance. So now things happen. But I will say the air conditioning worked tremendously well in the Washington football team locker room. The compression shorts did compress. Everything was working as planned. Way to go, team.
Beautiful.
At least it wasn't a December game. Could have been a little,
It's December in that locker room, bud. Don't you forget it.
All right. I don't know what all golf courses you've played, but let's just say you got one last round to play. Where's it going to be?
Like if I find out that I got till tomorrow.
Yep. This is it.
I'm going to go to the Polson Bay golf course. It's a municipal course on Flathead Lake in Montana where I played my first round ever. It's where I play every day in the summer with my family or my younger brother, Howie. And that'll be it.
Okay. Montana. Didn't think that was going to be the answer, but
good spot to be.
Great meeting. Yep.
Very good spot to be. All right, I'm very interested in this next question, Kyle, because as a former Chicago Bear with a smooth dome, right, up top, I need your opinion. Brian Urlacher, hero or traitor to the bald, beautiful men of Chicago after the hair transplant?
He is a traitor, but then when you realize how many billboards there are up, you can see that he made out very well. And those billboards have been up for about like a decade, it feels like now. So
he's doing all right.
They're still there.
So good for you, Brian, but just know that I do have some thoughts about that. I mean, God only made a few perfect heads, and he didn't put hair on any of them.
Oh, there you go.
That's good.
There you go.
That's good. All right, last one. I know you're big into nicknames. You mentioned Belly Corda earlier, which I think is fantastic.
That's good.
Give me some of your favorite nicknames in sports.
Favorite nicknames in sports? Well, anything that Shaq had growing up, like if you just had a list of all, like, the big Aristotle and,
The big
Socrates, was it, it's just funny. That stuff is funny. As a kid, my grandpa called me Tiger, had nothing to do with Tiger Woods. I think it was from an old song that he used to sing to me, maybe when I was little. My little brother broke his leg when he was 6, so he was called Peg Leg by my grandpa. I think I get this affinity for nicknames from my grandfather, and I like it in sport a lot, especially, I enjoy the coverage of the U.S. amateur stuff, Colt, and how it's like an alternative broadcast. And I think that these young amateurs and guys like myself, I don't know their names until they win the damn thing, and then. If there's something to remember somebody by, like a nickname, like if there was a thick kid out there and you called him Tiger Woods, people would remember. People remember that, like the redheaded ball boy from the Florida State Seminoles, like when Jameis was playing. Do you remember that guy? Remember the ball boy? There was a ball boy, and you'll find him when you look at this. He would sprint down the field when Jameis would. When people would tackle him, he would rip fuckers off of Jameis. He was ready to go. And they called him like, Big Red or something like that. But, that guy was famous for a bit. If you can be the catalyst for a guy by giving them a good nickname and they can just take that and go shoot 68, who knows? Maybe something starts.
I'll give you a couple you like. So I was playing golf down in New Orleans with Cooper Manning. He's got a buddy, heavy set Spaniard fellow. That's a good player. 2 handicap. Call him Heavy Ballesteros. Which I thought was fantastic.
Yeah, touch of class.
And then him in return, obviously Cooper, being the shittiest of the Manning brothers, calls him LeAngelo as LeAngelo Ball.
Yes.
I was like, this is beautiful. I love this.
Those are A+ nicknames.
See, stuff like that is amazing. And I feel like that kind of comedy has missed out on a lot of these broadcasts now. Well, at least what I grew up with golf was very serious. And guys who are whispering, and we're here, you got to keep it down a little bit. I want to get rowdy, bro. Like, give me a room I can get rowdy in at the golf course, and I'll do a live stream in a soundproof room that I can see out of that you can't see in, and we'll just have a day. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, you come to Scottsdale this year for WM Phoenix Open and sit with me on Saturday on 16, and you can be as loud as you want.
I've never been to the Waste Management. My folks live right up the hill there at Silverleaf, and we could go just crash.
Do they really?
Yeah, we could go crash up there.
Come see us in February. If you like to get 16 is that's your
Guys,
ground zero.
I am in. It sounds like we have a nice coffee date for the next time we speak.
Yes.
I cannot wait. Well, Kyle, this has been so much fun, man. We really appreciate you coming on with us.
Thanks. I hope the guys and the gals who are listening enjoy it, and I sure did. So thanks, and I hope to talk to you guys again soon.
All right. Well, that was Kyle Long joining us on Golf Subpar. How about his dad said, football's not for everyone, Sleaze. Turned out okay for him.
Yeah. He was a monster pitcher.
Huge.
Coming. I mean, not just monster like size-wise, but he was like really, really good. That was like the next thing. And it's also nice to be a dude that can be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to play baseball. Oh, that didn't work out. All right, I'll just go. Instead, I'll just go ahead and go to the NFL and have a long career in the NFL. Baseball didn't work out. Although baseball, being a pitcher, being a beast that throws heat, a big left-hander, pretty good money in that as well.
I didn't have that option. It was either golf or nothing.
Yeah, you chose correctly.
I did.
You chose
correctly. But, man, he is awesome. Smart guy. Loves golf. Absolutely obsessed. Plays every second he can. How about Brian Urlacher being a little traitor on the baldness? I'm team Kyle Long with the baldness.
Yeah, I wanted to get that in there because Kyle Long, he's a guy that's embraced it. You're a guy that's embraced it. Kyle was up there in Chicago. You've been there. Dude, I don't know what year Brian got this surgery, but like, dude, the billboards are still everywhere. It's like Vegas seeing Chris Angel. I mean, it's every freaking billboard in the town. The dude's still on it. So I didn't know if, other bald people from the city of Chicago see him as the hero, as the way out, or if he's like, no, dude, you abandoned us. You had all stick together.
If we had hair, it wouldn't be fair.
Would not be fair. How about also, this has gotten some pub, but dude, how about this is another case of why the internet sucks ass. Win a game, you're just trying to hang out, grab a shower, get clothed up, go see your fam, have a couple pops, whatever. And dude just turns on Instagram Live, catch you back there just changing clothes. By the way, after, like you said, compression shorts, all the shit. It's just like, you couldn't have caught me at a worse time, bro.
Is he a grower or a shower?
I don't know, but it could have been worse, dude. Some of those games up there in Chicago with that wind blowing, it could have been a December game. Could have been a December game, and that would hurt the rep. But he bounced back from that thing very nicely. He's awesome. I can't wait for he's going to come out to Scottsdale. We'll play a little golf. He's posting like swings on Instagram every nonstop. 4 hours. It seems like just nonstop. Like he loves it, dude. Pretty good move too for a dude that's just an animal and just started playing golf.
Yep. All right. Well, let's get to some picks for the week because I mean, if you didn't follow us last week, you're out of your mind because we both hit football. You hit golf, Tom Kim. I mean, what else do you want?
We're going right now. It's money-making season, baby. I'm going to lead off right now since I got the hot hand. And you know what I'm going to do, Colt? I'm going to stay hot because back-to-back ain't cheating. Tom Kim is going off 16-1, dude. 2 wins in his last 18 starts. I don't think I've done this, but I haven't picked a whole lot of winners in the last year. I mean, like I was saying earlier, I think he's just in that pocket right now where everything's easy. Like he's having fun. He's handled this, rise to fame. Seems like he's oblivious to it out there. It reminds me like a little bit of young Sergio. Like he looks like he's having fun on the golf course where everybody else looks like they're working. That didn't stick around for Sergio. He turned more into a little bit of a little sourpuss out there on the golf course. But Tom Kim just looks like everything's just stacking up right now. I mean, I'm going to ride the hot hand after President's Cup, Shriners, 16-1. Let's go back to back.
You don't have to worry about it being hungover. That's good news.
Exactly. That's nice too.
All right. Well, I'm going to go with we're in Japan. Zozo, hometown hero, Hideki Matsuyama. Let's go, baby.
Elvis Matsuyama. They show up.
Dude,
they show up for Hideki over there. He's a dude. I don't know what kind of endorsement deals he's got, but they are substantial. He's going to be the man over there.
How do I go against him? I mean, his first ever English interview, Gravy in the Sleeves on Sirius XM.
That's true, dude. That's true. He's going to remember that for forever. It's like Masters, that interview in English. Big time deal. All right.
Dark horse wise, I'm going to go to a guy who's sneaky been playing some very good golf. Made it to the Tour Championship this past year. Also a guy, probably not going to worry about him being hungover because the guy lives in the gym. Scott Stallings.
He is. He's the sneakiest, best playing player on the planet right now that nobody talks about. Dude didn't peel off any wins, but it just seems like top 10s over and over. Scott Stallings, he's going to be under the radar. It's a good dark horse. I'm going to go with the guy that I know is going to win at some point, Cole. I don't know when the hell it's going to be, but I'm going to go ahead and pick him this week and roll the dice. Cam Davis. He finished off the year last year, 5 top 20s in his last 6 starts. Actually, all 5 of those were 16th or better. A few top 10s sprinkled in there. Talent-wise, the kid's a beast. It's just getting that putter to work just a little bit, but he's going to win. He's like the prototypical modern golfer, and I think it's coming soon. I think the President's Cup playing under that, magnifying glass and that deal was a big help for him, and I'll roll it with Cam Davis.
When not to step on your toes here, but when you say win, you mean win again because he did win the Rocket Mortgage.
Win, win, like he's going to become a guy that we expect to win and wins each year going forward. The talent is just monstrous. So you look at that golf swing and you're like, yep. He's tall, he's lanky, hits bombs, he does all the stuff.
Well, that's the shit we don't know anything about. Let's talk about football, which we are experts at, obviously.
Finally.
We are on a fucking heater.
Thank Jesus, by the way, because it's the only bets I win each week are these ones right here, and then I go into just the darkness.
If you were at enough discipline to just bet the games you bet on here, you'd be richer than shit. You might leave me, actually. So
I know. I feel like I'm starting off hot every single week, and then it just goes to shit. And I win the first one again the next week and do the same thing.
All right. This pains me because I got to take our guy Trent Rathman to school. I'm going Michigan, -6.5 over Penn State. See if they can keep this thing rolling.
At the Big House. Don't hate that at all. They've looked good. Defense, monstrous. I'm going to stay in the Big 12. That's my bread and butter.
Going your Frogs again?
Watch a lot of football. I'm not going Frogs again. I'm 2-0 on the Frogs. By the way, shout out to my boys, Clipping Kansas, 5-0 on the year. Also, more importantly, Colt, one of the only teams in the country undefeated against the spread this season.
First off, that's all that matters. That is all that matters.
Have not let you down if you bet Frogs at any point this season. It's a tough game this week. Okie State favored at home. They're good. I don't know. We're going to see how that goes. But I'm staying in the Big 12. I'm going to go Baylor, a team that I think's a little bit better than their record. They're given 3.5 at West Virginia. Weird shit happens in Morgantown. It's a different beast. It's like entering a little black hole up there. Those fans are nuts. But I think Baylor's better than they're getting credit for. I think they handle West Virginia by more than a field goal. They're given 3.5. Watch out for that hook. But I'm taking the Baylor Bears, and it pains me to pick Baylor in anything.
That one makes me a little nervous. I feel like Pat McAfee might be there running around, getting the fucking crowd going nuts. It could be wild up there in Morgantown.
It's wild. It's like Lubbock and Morgantown. You go there and you're like entering. It's like landing on the moon. You're like, oh, some weird shit's about to happen. Tortillas, bottles of piss, you name it, it's coming at you.
All right, well, that's gonna do it for us, Sleaze. I gotta head out for an E9 here at Grove 23.
Go get them, dude. Try to win. Give us some more content.
All right, I'll do my best. By the way, next week, our first guest that might hit it straighter than I do, Fred Funk, is going to join us on Golf Subpar.
That's right. Funk Master Fred in the house.
All right, everyone have a great week. We'll talk to you next week on Golf Subpar.